right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the week. Let's see what wants to come through for us this week on the spiritual path. If you're new to my channel, welcome in. I'm noticing a lot of new faces coming in. So if you're brand new, welcome in. If you like my content, please hit the like and subscribe button. That way it helps the channel too, and you'll get notified of any videos. I'm going to finish up the November readings this week, and let's see where the month takes us. All right. So what's going on with the spiritual path this week, please? All right. Valiant courage. That's definitely coming through in the readings. Take action with passion. Wise leader. You are a beacon for others. Been telling you that for a while. Ascending the mountain. Keep going forward. And finding sanctuary, opening to your spiritual source. I'm getting a very strong vibe this week. Last night I did a reading for whoever needs to hear this message. So if that title resonates with you, go check out that reading after you're done here. But this feels like there's going to be a time of rest. I feel like there has been, if you are in some kind of process in your life, maybe you've been putting in a lot of effort. I was definitely seeing that in that reading last night in terms of relationship, but this can be about anything in your life, putting in a lot of effort really to move things forward. And it can be because Mars has been in Cancer for a while now, and that's kind of an uncomfortable place for that energy. It doesn't like it. Mars doesn't like Cancer. It's too touchy-feely. I really just want to keep moving. Mars is slowing down. It's going to go into retrograde in December. I'll be talking a lot more about that. And I have been talking about that in the monthly readings for each zodiac sign. But I just want to say that there's definitely, this looks like some moment of courageous effort this week, and then you get to take a rest. So there might be some kind of conversation that you didn't see coming. There might be some kind of confrontation or a clash moment where you're going to have to stand up for yourself. And that's very Leo. Mars moving into Leo today. And there can be a time when you kind of have to speak your truth in a kind of an unvarnished way, but also in like a compassionate leadership kind of way. So this is not about like, a screaming fight or calling someone a name or anything like that. This is just about like a quiet moment of leadership courage that's going to be important this week. So underneath is the Seven of Pentacles, the Emperor energy. There's Divine Masculine energy, the Four of Wands. Here's Cancerian energy in the space of that Queen of Cups, and then the Knight of Wands. So there's some movement here, some fire energy. It's definitely like this is Mars, right? This is Mars energy, and going from that water sign into a fire sign of Leo. Okay, that's usually pretty Sag, but look at this. Okay, this is usually, in my opinion, this is a Sag card, Sagittarius, which is about courage, but Leo is also about courage. The fire signs are about taking action with passion. And I'm really feeling taking action with passion is the name of the card. Hello. So that's leadership. And then this is about movement. So it's not enough to be talking the talk. This is about walking the walk, ascending, keep going forward. So you might say a lot of stuff, but it's like backing it up with action. So if you are dealing with somebody who's like, yes, I want this relationship to be better, but then they never do anything different. All right, that's not backing it up. And I almost feel like that's going to be the conversation where you're like, okay, if you want this to move forward, you're going to have to do something. Love is a verb, right? Love is something that you do. It's not something that you say. And so when someone's words, it's just words. Like, hey, words are important. The stories you tell yourself are important. Your truth, speaking your truth, and all of that. But now this is about action. So Mars moving into Leo is about taking some kind of action. Here's the Devil card. Wow. Interesting. Different deck and everything. Page of Cups. This was kind of in the reading last night too. Page of Cups, Six of Swords. It's like there's nothing. I don't. Okay, so that Page of Cups seems kind of weak tea compared to that Devil energy. It's sort of like, okay, so I had okay, this is like a I had a boyfriend a long time ago. I think I was in my 30s, maybe, yeah, 30s. Yes. And I don't know if I call him a boyfriend, someone I dated for a few weeks or a few months. And he was telling me about how his previous relationship had broken up. And like, I don't even think he really was listening to himself, because he was telling me that there had all been all these things going on, lots of fighting, lots of action in that regard, but like no then taking what the criticisms were, or taking what the direction was or the ask was, and then putting it into action. And I feel like they got to this point in him with his ex, was that it was like a standoff. And Valentine's Day came around or whatever, and he made some kind of really small gesture that like literally, like the house is in a 5 alarm fire and you come with a watering can. Like it doesn't matter. It really, I was like, oh wow. And he could see from the look on my face that I was like, that was not the right thing to do. Or it wasn't, I don't know. It just wasn't courageous. It wasn't heartfelt. It wasn't what she was talking about. It was kind of like, this is what I want to give you, as opposed to what you asked me for or what you said was valuable to you. And so I'm sure we've all had these experiences where we've said to somebody like, hey, this isn't working for me. This is what would work for me. And they either don't do it, or they do it in kind of a way that's a little bit like, well, this is what you told me to do, kind of a thing. And I'm out. Okay. Like I'm out. And so that's what that reminds me of. It's like, there's just, 5 alarm fire with a watering can is a very apt metaphor here. I feel 2 of Pentacles, the 9 of Cups, and the 7 of Cups. So now there's a sense, this can be like you looking at your ex relationships, how you got here, right? How you got here. And a lot of you are working on your own healing and, really putting some time and effort into it, and recognizing that, there just wasn't enough to get that over the finish line, or to really make it a relationship I would stay in, or it wasn't enough. And it was for a different reason, right? The lesson was for a different reason. But now I get to understand what it is I do want. And I'm going to start from there. 9 of Cups and 7 of Cups. I feel like in the past, there's definitely a sense of, when I got myself into a relationship, I was really trying to have someone else like me. I really wanted someone to like me. I didn't want, I wasn't really paying attention to potential of like their red flags or anything like that. I just was like auditioning for this relationship. Now, some of you could be in the inverse of this, where a person really auditioned for a relationship with you, and then they didn't show up with much. Okay. And they didn't show up with much. And I just get the feeling of like, this could be something long in your past or just recently in your past, but it's going to be relevant now. Okay. It's going to be relevant now, because I feel like this moment in time where you've come to this ascending the mountain, you've come to this place of leadership in your own life or with others. Even you've been courageous. You've done something. You're now stand for something. And there's going to be another opportunity coming along here. Yes, I'm definitely getting that. Oh wow, look at that. 10 of Cups, 9 of Cups, 10 of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, and the 8 of Wands. And I just feel like very soon, someone is going to ask you what you want. And it would be nice for you to know, or to have an answer. So it's in other words, it's like, don't tell the old stories, or, like however you used to get into a relationship before. I talk about my ex, you talk about your ex. Like maybe don't do that. Maybe that's not helpful. Or maybe talk about what I have learned in my relationships. That's way better. What I have learned what I know to be true about myself, where I am with my life right now, what am I looking to create in my life right now. That is definitely in this place of leadership. Okay. And so this can be in terms of your career, in terms of everything in your life. You might just want to take a look at, how am I showing up? How am I showing up in my work? How am I showing up in my friendships? How am I showing up in my life? Some of you are at a place of real reflection right now, finding sanctuary, opening to your spiritual source. Some of you are like, I just want to be left alone. Others of you are like, no, I think I'm ready to take the next step. For some of you, it's going to take a couple years if you're just ending a relationship right now, or you're in the place of like kind of examining the wreckage for, what went wrong here. How did I show up here? How did I not show up here? No one's perfect kind of thing. Everybody, especially in relationships where somebody did something egregious, okay, like cheating or whatever. It can be really hard to look at ourselves because they did something so egregious, right? But in order to really understand what it is you want moving forward, you're going to have to look at yourself and go, I kind of let that go on for a long time. I was really hoping that person would change, but there was never any evidence of that. And I just kind of let that keep going. And it was just like, I'm burning daylight here. The days are just ticking by. I'm just, some of you were in some very toxic relationships. I know because I've heard about them. And this person shows up with a watering can to a 5-alarm fire. So how do we not get it to a 5-alarm fire again? How can we make sure that we're presenting ourselves not as a way of having someone else impressed with us, and so they come toward us? Instead, it's sort of like, how do I create the thing I really want? How do I step out of my old habits, my old patterns, and bring my real A game in such a way that I'm showing up for myself? Okay. And the 7 of Cups is sort of like, there can be a little confusion about that. Like, I know what I want it to look like, but what do I actually say? Justice, 9 of Swords, the Star, healing energy, and the 3 of Pentacles. So this is a little bit about really uncovering your anxieties and your nervousness about recreating something from an unhealed place and going, okay, then I really need to heal these certain things. So from a macro perspective, like if we're making this shift into the age of Aquarius, we're making this shift going forward into some kind of completely new energy. What do we want to see? What do we want to see in the world? What do we want to make sure we're bringing our A game to? What do we want to not be in the world? What do we want to say that this is unacceptable to us, to me, to you, in such a way that there can be some kind of conversation around it? We don't want to create this again, do we? No, we don't. And so we're moving away from that 5-alarm fire, but the wreckage, we're still part of that wreckage. So we have to, number one, we have to look at ourselves individually and collectively. Let's look at ourselves. Let's look at what we want to build, the 3 of Pentacles. So that can be something, and building it from a healed perspective. So that requires self-reflection. It requires conversation about, like, I thought this was a really bad precedent to set. I thought this was egregious. I thought this was lovely, and I want to grow more of that. And have that honest conversation. 9 of Cups, right in the middle. What kind of world do we want to create moving forward? And what does that look like? So there can be a lot of discussion about everybody's needs. What does everybody need? If this is a personal relationship for you, what would you say to somebody? If you wanted to create the ideal relationship, what do you say? And what do you ask about when you're starting to date somebody? What do you look for in a best friend, or in a friend, or in a company when you're going to, go for a job. This is a very big shift in how the energy is flowing. The divine feminine energy is flowing more in a way that says it must be balanced. It must be from a healed perspective, and a healed perspective meaning I've got some awareness of my own patterns. And this is what I'm working on, and this is what I've noticed. What are the complaints of your partners? What are the complaints of your bosses? What did they always bring up? What is a constant theme? And what is the constant theme that has been bringing you pain or bringing you separation or bringing relationships to an end in your life? This is what it means to really look at yourself and say, a lot of my relationships say that I have a commitment problem. A lot of my friendships say that I'm not accessible, that I'm too protective, that I'm not vulnerable enough to really feel like we're close or something like that. Like, what is it? Other people might have said to you, for a different person, like, you swamp me with all your needs. Like, where is it? And I think that this is the internal conversation that is needing to be held right now, or happening right now. 8 of Wands, the Hierophant, the 9 of Pentacles, the Temperance card, and the Knight of Swords. Okay, this freaking card is showing up in almost every reading. That card to me is a card of rage. And the rage that I'm sensing off this card says, I don't feel heard. How do we feel heard in relationships if we're not willing to say our truth? How is that possible? So is it just like, I don't feel heard in relationships, and so I'm not getting into one anymore? I feel like I always attract these kind of people who don't hear me. Okay, fair enough. I'm right there with you. Is it possible that if you said some stuff when you were dating them, there's no way that they would get into a relationship with you because you're kind of like calling them out, or you're kind of, if this is a person who's taking advantage of other people and you're not giving off that vibe anymore and you're really not in that place anymore, then those dates don't go anywhere. And then you could get discouraged for another reason. You could be just like, oh, well, there's no good people out there anymore. There's no, and I've heard all that too. But this is about showing up. How am I showing up in my life as a leader, as a wise leader? Because moving forward in this next couple years, as we're really moving into the energy of Age of Aquarius, that's what's going to be required of us as leaders in the spiritual community. All of you guys on my channel are leaders in the spiritual community. That's what this channel's about. That's who I'm attracting. I know it. I see it in the comments. I see it in your questions and Pathfinders. Now, how am I showing up on this next level? So let's get into it. I'm going to keep going with this reading. If this is for you, let's keep going. I'm going to look at what you don't see coming. I'm going to talk more about the astrology moving forward. And as we're getting into the Age of Aquarius, this November and December are kind of the ramp up time. Okay. All right. Link is below if you want to continue on with me. Pathfinders, let's just keep going. All right. I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.